it's Kate from Wild Tales Of. If you're new here on YouTube and on my blog, wildtalesof.com, I share about family, travel, and outdoor adventure. Today, Georgia and I are gonna do some more work in the garden. And if you missed our video last week, you can head back and see some of the planting that we did, and we'll give you a little bit of an update, but spoiler alert, there's not much to update after a week, but we'll show you anyway. So today we are going to plant some turnip seeds out in the garden, direct sowing, and then we are also going to plant some tomato seeds that will be hanging out inside and hopefully doing really well in here until it's warm enough here in Seattle to put them outside, which will be a while. But last year we started the tomatoes too late and didn't get very many good ones. So I'm hoping that starting the seeds quite a bit earlier will give us some more success in having them out in the nice sunny weather in the summer. And then we also tried to do turnips last year kind of late summer, and they did start to grow and kind of take off, but then I think it just got too cold for them to grow anymore because they just hung out in the container all winter basically, and we just pulled them out and they didn't really amount to much. So hopefully with planting them now, we can actually get something out of them. So we thought we would take you along on our little gardening adventure today, and we'd love to know if you are gardening this spring and summer, and if you are, make sure to share about that in the comments below. We'd love to hear what you are planting in your garden, and let's get going. So first off, we have our lettuce that we sowed last week, and as you can see, we have a few sprouts, which is really exciting. So not all of them, definitely enough to get excited about. So we have a couple seedlings coming along, which is really fun. Here's what Bergen's up to while we're going in the garden. Looking good. So we're outside and there isn't much going on, as you can see, but we have one exciting development, and that's this pea sprout coming up, which is really awesome. That's one that we soaked ahead of time in the paper towel in the plastic bag, so it's interesting. Don't see a lot happening here with the carrots. We took the boards off, and then not anything happening with our radishes. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and plant some turnips. We're gonna plant them in a container. It's right here. And Georgia is counting them to see how many little holes we're gonna make. She's lining them up here on this
12,
board.
13,
Nice.
There are about 17 seeds.
All right, so how many holes should we make?
17.
Okay, let's go. So we had a little bit of an issue with those turnip seeds. They were a lot more rolly than we anticipated, and we did end up with some turnip seeds on the ground, so maybe they'll volunteer on the ground. Probably not, but we will just see how many we get. I don't know if how many we lost, maybe half of them or so. So we'll see how that goes, but either way, we got some planted. And I wanted to share, they're called purple top white globe turnips, and I've never grown turnips. Well, I've never harvested turnips, and I don't think I have ever cooked turnips before. So, but I did just have a sandwich the other day from a food truck, and it like had these stacked turnips. It was I'm pretty sure it was vegan even. I know for sure vegetarian. It was completely a vegetarian sandwich, and it had turnips on it, so that's kind of fun. So we're gonna move on to planting some tomatoes. The tomatoes we have are these Romas, and which I planted last year. Didn't get the plants did great, but we just didn't have them out in the warm weather for long enough, so we didn't get very many by the time summer was over. So again, hoping to get them started earlier and more established. And then I also got these cherry tomatoes, and hoping, since cherry tomatoes are so small, that they will do a lot better, since it doesn't get very hot here for very long. We just don't have very long summers here in Seattle. So I just was reading about these pots, these like fiber pots, I guess, and you're supposed to pour warm water in them, which I didn't know before. Sorry about the airplane noise. I'm just gonna pour warm water. And I'm thinking that must just allow them to soak up the water better, create a better environment. Who knows? So we have 9 containers. We're gonna do 4 aromas, 4 cherries. Here's what they look like. So we're gonna make tiny little holes. You make the hole, I'll put the seed in. Tiny. So hopefully these tomatoes will do really well. They'll stay inside until about May. Usually in Seattle, the rule of thumb is around Mother's Day is when you can start bringing your tomato plants outside. Okay, ready to bring those inside?
Yep.
Windowsill's getting pretty crowded, but it's our best shot for getting some good germination. We just labeled them with a Sharpie like that, C for cherry and R for Roma. Hopefully that's gonna be a system that works out. Put little markers on here. You got the other 2? Go ahead and put those in there. Good. All right, so I think we're gonna call it kind of a shorter gardening session today. We gotta move on and get to some other things and get on with the rest of the day. But before I go, I wanted to share a couple of resources. One that I got last year and have been using, I used all of last year and then have been using this year as well to help with planning. And another that I just got in, this week that I'm really excited about. And I had someone ask in my last video just how I determined when to start planting and all of that. And so I thought I would just share that. And this one is one that I've had now for about a year. It's called High Yield Vegetable Gardening, and it is by Colin McCrate and Brad Helm. And the reason why I purchased this is because it was from authors that were based here locally in Seattle, and they're the founders of the Seattle Urban Farm Company, so that sounded like some good credentials for getting a gardening book. And it really helps with planning out your garden. It's definitely more than I need, definitely more than just our little, what we have back there with our little raised bed and our, half a dozen or so containers. It really gets into like some major like irrigation watering systems, which we don't need, but the big thing that I use is like trying to determine and plan out, especially when you need to plant each particular crop, and then just like tips on taking care of them. It's almost like workbook style. I haven't actually written in it just because I figure I'm gonna keep using it, but it'll have like all the different vegetables, and then you can mark, when you decide when you want to sow them, and it just gives lots of quick information throughout for each of the different crops. So I'll just share really quick the 3 parts. So you have part 1, planning and planting what you need. Part 2 is growing for maximum yield. And then part 3 is getting the most from your garden space. So definitely recommend this book. And then this is the one that just came in this week that I'm so excited about. I mentioned in the last video the trick that I learned about getting better carrot germination with putting the boards over the carrot seeds that you just sowed. And that came from the lady who wrote this book. Her name is Jessica Sowards, and she has a really amazing YouTube channel. It's called Roots and Refuge Farm. And she just came out with this book. And so, you know, it is titled For a First-Time Gardener, but it's definitely not just for a first-time gardener. I've been gardening off and on for years and years, but with different levels of success, and I'm definitely just diving into this book, and I'm just kind of reading it like it's a regular book, just going through the whole thing. And it's got beautiful photographs and just really approachable way of getting into your garden. And I can imagine if I was a first-time gardener that I would really get a lot out of it, but even as someone who's been gardening for a long time, I'm learning so much, and it's just really fun to have a gardening book that kind of feels like a book that you want to just read. So here are her sections. It's Welcome to the Classroom, the Foundation, so what every garden needs, Creating Your Garden, Growing with the Seasons. That's something big that I learned from Jessica, is that you can extend your season. It's not just about growing in the summer, but you can really get a head start in the spring and grow things, especially here like peas. You can start your root vegetables, and then you can even extend it into the fall, growing again kind of those same things. So she's really taught me how to use kind of the shoulder seasons of gardening. And then the need for seed or not, growing something lovely, designing a captivating space, the nitty gritty of garden management, and making the harvest. So here's, look at that. So I will leave links below to both of those books so you can go check them out in case you were looking for resources. But that's about all we have for today. Thanks so much for watching. If you liked our video, make sure to give us a thumbs up. We really appreciate your support. And if you're interested in following along for more outdoor adventures and travel adventures, we'd love for you to consider subscribing. And again, like I said earlier, make sure to leave a comment below we'd love to hear about how your gardening is going. If you have started your spring garden, we would love to hear what you're planting and what you're excited about. So make sure to leave a comment below so we can chat some more. And we hope you're staying happy and healthy, and we hope you are getting out and having some brave, wild adventures. And we'll see you next time. Bye.